So, I'm doing this video because I have something to talk about, as usual. But what I was going to originally talk about, that I thought about 2 or 3 days ago, is this idea that I have for a movie. And I'm going to talk about it on social media. So if motherfucker try to steal my idea, any of that shit, you can go on here and see that I came up with this idea and when I came up with it. But anyways, what I want to talk about today is this Dave Chappelle special. I've watched it 3 times because I think the shit is funny, but it's also very intelligent. So to all you dumb motherfuckers out there, whether you the LGBTQ community, whether you allies or supporters of the LGBT community, etc., regardless of what the color of your skin is, and you are all up in arms about this shit, you need to relax. And most of you motherfuckers are dumb and stupid, and you talking from talking points that were not given to you by yourself. You're following a fucking narrative that somebody else has written. So, Dave Chappelle talked about the whole LGBTQ community thing, and especially with the transgender thing. And I don't understand how women who are part of the LGBT community, but also call themselves feminists, that shit don't even go together. You can't be both. It's the same thing that the feminist movement did when they adopted the civil rights movement. That's the same thing the LGBT community is doing. That's the same thing the people with disability, we adopted the fucking civil rights movement, which is totally fine. But don't be running around here acting like your shit is worse than slavery. Because it's not. It don't even compare at all. What the fuck you going through? It doesn't. And women should be mad. How in the fuck can a dude that decided that he wanted to be a woman become woman of the year? That's insane. It doesn't make any sense like a motherfucker going out there getting a tan and become, I'm the best looking melanated or dark skinned person in the world. And your shit ain't real unless because you done went out there in the sun. The shit is stupid. So, you want to cancel Dave Chappelle and get him off of Netflix. If you pay attention to the Save Dave Chappelle's audience, you do realize it's a multicultural audience. And there are probably way more people, even people in the LGBTQ community, that agree with Dave Chappelle and find this shit funny also. So you are in the minority. And because you're in the minority, you need to shut the fuck up. You know how you can't stand watching Dave Chappelle comedy and he's saying all this shit because you think it offensive? I have nothing against people in the LGBT community. I have friends who are in that community. I work with people in that community. And I don't consider these motherfuckers my allies. Is everybody my friend? No. But some of these people I call my friends. And I don't even like saying some of these people because we are fucking human beings. But to get back to my point, it's uncomfortable sometimes when I'm watching TV. Then all of a sudden you see 2 dudes kissing. Or you see 2 girls kissing. Or in a movie you can see 2 people of the same sex having sex. I'm uncomfortable with that. Sorry. And you don't see me out here marching and protesting, talking about you need to take this shit off the TV. If you don't like something, you don't watch it. Do your own thing. Nobody cares. But when you're trying to stuff some shit down somebody's throat, then to turn around and try to tell a motherfucker you can't say that so you need to get the fuck off the TV, who gives a fuck about how you feel? America is the king on not giving a fuck about how you feel. So why are you trying to make people give a fuck about how you feel? Nobody cares. Do what you do. But you can't make me sit back and accept all this shit on TV that we see that I'm uncomfortable with. But it's on there, and I'm not running up to people in that community telling them, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. And I ain't all on social media like they need to cancel these motherfuckers, man. All this gay shit on TV, this shit bothering the fuck out of me. It's fucking up everything. Come on, they got cartoons these days with people being transgender. You haven't even gave these kids the opportunity to form their own opinions. You just throwing shit in their face. You know how many girls I know who are heterosexual, but because they done went through so much bullshit with men that they are trying out women these days, and then they come to find out, and I had this conversation with them, and you know what they respond to? These bitches are just like these dudes. So what that means, motherfucker, we are human beings. And human beings behave a certain way. And most of the time, the way human beings behave has been taught to them by society, in the community, and their families. They haven't made up their own minds about shit because society doesn't let you do that. So, stop trying to counsel people for saying shit. And because Dave Chappelle is smart, and the whole the baby content that he used, and you got a bunch of people in the media trying to say, well, the baby was protecting his family, so that don't really count. It don't make a motherfucking difference what the baby was talking about. That's why Dave Chappelle said the word nigga in that shit, because the word nigga is derogatory, but we use it all the motherfucking time in rap music and all this other shit, and don't nobody say nothing about it. Secondly, if the baby was in Walmart and he'd have shot a white person, regardless of the fact that they was attacking him, or if he would have shot a police officer that was off duty, and he didn't know where the fuck all this heat come from, do you think the baby would be free today? No, he would not. B, the reason, because it was some other niggas. But you motherfuckers are too dumb and too stupid to think outside the box. And when you're dealing with Dave Chappelle, who is a brilliant man, he's just not a brilliant comedian. He's smart. And that's why motherfuckers like him. There's some comedians out here just talk shit and don't know nothing. There's some people out here with PhDs and all this bullshit, and they don't know shit. But you think they smart because they got a piece of paper and they done went to school for a certain thing. They don't make you fucking smart, motherfucker. You ain't better than no motherfucking body else because you got a piece of paper that said you done went to school and paid all this money to get a degree to be knowledgeable in a field. Don't mean you knowledgeable in every motherfucking thing else. What a nigga know about being a woman? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You can feel however the fuck you want to feel on the inside. What do you know? I didn't know shit about having a disability until I got shot and got a disability. Absolutely nothing. But I can still go to the motherfucking doctor and tell these motherfuckers I've been living with this disability for over 20 years now, and these motherfuckers still trying to tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm talking about my body, and they don't know shit. All they know is some shit that they done read in a book and they didn't come up with. And then because they didn't did all this shit with an X amount of number of people with disabilities, but everybody with disabilities ain't the same, even they got the same motherfucking level of injuries. You stupid motherfuckers. So do you understand what Dave Chappelle is saying? And for the, I forgot, it ain't the NWW, so people, whoever these motherfuckers were that came out and was trying to, yeah, you should ban them too. How do you call yourself an African American or black coalition of anything, and you coming to an aid of a people who have never came to your aid? Explain this to me. Yes, transgender people and people in the gay community get discriminated against. I guess, but I don't. It's too much going on these days that they in everything. And how about, because I did 3 interviews with the New York Times in 2020. And none of those interviews got published because they didn't like what I said. But the people who interviewed me said it was a great interview. Because they wanted me to talk shit about the Republican Party and talk shit about Trump. And I wasn't going to do it. Because I don't totally disagree with everything Republican people say. We went and voted for Joe Biden, and what has he done? He ain't did shit he was going to say he was going to do. Kamala Harris and disappeared out of sight. These motherfuckers, we done ran to the polls and did all this shit. And police brutality and injustice is still happening. And this nigga ain't did shit. And I say nigga, I'm referring to Joe Biden because I refer to people of all races sometimes as niggas. Because it's just a word. And you shouldn't let words bother you until somebody's doing something to stop you. But dear LGBT community, let me tell you something. And any other motherfucking community that yous and whoever the fuck else. You know who get discriminated the most in this society? And don't nobody really do anything about it unless you're a part of their family or friends or some shit like that. It's people with disabilities. So LGBT community, fuck what you talking about. Either you don't like what he says and you don't watch and move along, or if you agree with him and you watch and entertain. But we have laws that no one adheres to for people in the disability community. People will make brand new infrastructure knowing that they're supposed to make that shit accessible and they don't. And don't nobody do nothing about it. I don't see the LGBT community out there helping out. I don't see the feminist movement. I don't nobody do shit about it. So what is that saying? So, if you want to be up in arms for some shit, and then we get the fact that I didn't have a disability, quote unquote, for 19 years of my life, then I fall into another group that getting discriminated against. I went from being black, a 6'3", black, sometimes combative. Yes, I can be very aggressive male, to being a part of a disability community. And half the shit that I say, I get away with because I have a disability. And people don't see me as a threat. But then I say some shit, and the shit be they'll understand it because I'm not a threat. But if I was walking around and I say half the shit I would say, people would be upset with me on a regular basis. I probably wouldn't have a job or any of that shit. But because I'm in a position that people see me as being vulnerable, they accept that we can have these conversations. And I can say some off the wall shit, trying to be funny, and people try to get mad, and then I explain to them what the fuck I was doing. Then we get to that point. Y'all just, there's a bunch of zombies running around this motherfucker. You need to stop. And you need to grow the fuck up. Period. Stop trying to cancel people. And Dave Chappelle is a comedian, but half the shit Dave Chappelle was saying, he believed and he was being honest. He can just have some funny shit. Everything in this world can end up being funny. You can find some funny shit, but it can be distasteful and you shouldn't say it, maybe this and that. But just because you mad, don't mean everybody else mad. And it don't mean you can sit around and do all this extra bullshit that's gonna make everybody else mad. Stop. And how about drop the motherfucking letters and just look at yourself as being a human being? That's what we all are, human beings. And once we stop putting each other in boxes and all this other shit and just consider ourselves as human beings, all this shit will stop. LGBT community, you wouldn't have to worry about any of that shit. The people with disabilities wouldn't have to worry about no one coming out really protesting or trying to make sure that everything is accessible for us and this and that, because we'd be all human beings and we would do what's right for one another. It's disrespectful to go into a motherfucking bathroom and you only got one fucking stall in there for disabled people and you got able-bodied people sitting in there motherfucking and using it. And ain't nobody doing nothing about it. Grow the fuck up. And shut the fuck up. It really ain't that big and people just don't, some people ain't gonna never agree with the transgender community and some of the shit they do because we've been as a society conditioned to believe that this is what's supposed to be. Shit, the Bible, for all you Bible told motherfuckers and believe in God, whether you believe in religion or not, the Bible condemned being gay and all that shit. But we ain't, so we gonna cancel the Bible? When are we doing that? When are we gonna cancel the Bible and all these churches? While we trying to cancel Dave Chappelle because the Bible shit on people in the LGBT community and been shitting on them for years, centuries. So can we cancel the Bible too? or we picking and choose?